Today we're going to do a practice with mental states or the mind's reaction, looking at which way we're leaning in response to our experience. So you can begin by settling into your meditation posture. Maybe you know what generally works for you, and sometimes what works changes. I like to sit with my feet flat on the floor if I'm in a chair, the back upright. And you can picture the spine stacked straight up on itself, resting the body on the skeleton and allowing the muscles to relax. So letting the shoulders drop a little bit. Relaxation around the hips and the abdomen. Allowing the belly to be soft, really letting go. Feeling ourselves come into this present time experience. Can notice the butt in the chair or cushion. Just seeing how it feels. Feeling the connection. The points of contact. The feet on the floor. The clothes on the skin. What else is present for you? The body breathing itself. The movement in the chest and abdomen at the tip of the nose. Maybe some sounds. The slight shifting of the body. Some movement inside your home or outside. Just for now, not trying to label things as good or bad or right or wrong, but just seeing what's present. What does it feel like to be right here, right now? What is that experience like? We'll start with a few minutes of open awareness practice like this. And it may help you to use a one-word label just to label what sense door the experience is at. So when a sound comes up, just noticing hearing. Or when a sensation in the body arises, feeling. Even with eyes closed, maybe you're seeing. And of course, there's the sense door of thought. So when the mind begins wandering, noticing thinking, and not resisting any experience, but just labeling it. Whether it's thinking or hearing or feeling or seeing or smelling or tasting, using the label just as a way to notice it, recognize what's going on and bring awareness to it, and to let it come and go, opening the awareness back up. So in your head it may sound something like this. Hearing, feeling, feeling, thinking. At whatever pace you find helpful, you can sync the labels with the breath if it is beneficial to you. But really, the task here is just to bring awareness to what's going on right now in your present time experience. And when the mind wanders or gets lost, which happens to all of us, the mind thinks. Just noticing that you were thinking and coming back to the practice, seeing what else is present, tuning into the sounds and the feelings in the body with some non-judgmental awareness, just looking at them as an observer, not interfering. And when the mind does judge or try to fix something, noticing it, thinking. And now we'll add in this practice of looking at the mental reaction. When something occurs, do we fall into a state of craving or clinging for more of it, of aversion or hatred or not wanting to experience it? Or maybe there's some neutrality around it. I often experience the craving or the aversion as a leaning towards or leaning away from something. Maybe not always physically, but mentally I can feel the mind leaning towards something, leaning into it, or kind of leaning away from it. So you can ask yourself with your experience, whether it's a sound that pops up, a feeling in the body, am I leaning toward this or leaning into it? Or am I leaning away from it? An example may be that you hear the sound of a bird chirping outside and you find it pleasant, and you kind of lean into it and stick with it for a moment. Maybe there's a pain in the body, the knee is sore, and you notice it. You can notice the mind kind of lean away from it, avert from it. The task here isn't to have a perfectly neutral response every time or to lean into every experience. Rather, just notice what the natural response is. And you can notice the response to the response. If you're leaning away, does judgment arise? If you're leaning toward, do you look into it any further? Whatever comes up for you in your experience. Again, using the one-word labels, hearing or feeling or thinking. And then you can just note leaning in or leaning out, or in or out. Which way does the mind lean in response to experience? And for these last few minutes, putting forth a little bit extra effort to just focus on that state of mind. You may even look at the mind primarily and let go of the awareness of the sounds and the feeling. But as you tune into the mental state like this, through repeated practice, you can begin to see how the mind changes rapidly, moving from wanting more to wanting less, to contentment, back to dis-ease. And just observing how our moods, how the mental attitude changes so rapidly. Again, asking yourself, what's the mind's response to experience in this moment?